guys, today is Sunday, April 14th, and I am really sorry that this is the first video I've uploaded in 2 months. I actually made a New Year's resolution to upload 2 videos a month, and obviously that hasn't happened because of studying, which is actually what this video is going to be about. And that is a legitimate excuse, but I do feel bad because I really do want to put more time into making videos because it's something that I really enjoy. I decided I'd just go ahead and make my own on is study tips. And these are really important, and these are going to be specifically for AP and IB testing, not for basic everyday studying. If you guys want me to make a video on that, I definitely can. But the first thing you have to do when you are studying for AP and IB testing is looking at a calendar. So get out your agenda. I use the Lilly Pulitzer one that apparently everyone has, but I really like it, and plus I like the pattern. Flip to what day it is. So for me, it is April 14th, which is over here on this side. So then I'm going to look at the fact that I have 1, 2, 3 weeks until my AP IB testing starts, and that's going to decide how you study. If you look over here, you will see that I have, that is not going to be helpful. If you look over here, you'll see that I have testing almost every single day in May, and that's simply because of IB. So definitely look at that and then make a study plan. So here is today. I write everything I need to do for the weekend down on Friday, and then I put like specific things I want to do on each day down on Saturday and Sunday. So if you see this as study plan, that's what I'm about to show you guys. But just keep in mind that you need to block out specifically on your agenda or wherever you write out your daily assignments time for studying in addition to regular homework. So you see how that says 200 the screw, 2, 3, and EQ? Well, I have to do that. That's not actually studying. That's regular homework assignments for me. So just make sure you write down and block out actual studying time, because otherwise you might be like, oh, I've already done my homework, I don't really need to study. And yes, you do. The question is, how can you study? And that I have an answer for. You get to make one of these things, which are super cute. So you're gonna put down all the classes you wanna study for, and yes, it says SAT. I am a senior. It is April, and I am retaking the SAT in May to see if I can get 30 points higher to reach the next level of scholarship for my state of South Carolina. So you have the days of the week. I obviously was really lazy and just went every other subject every other day and colored them all green. However, in my mind, I break it up differently. If I'd wanted to, I would have done math and chemistry a different color, maybe like red, and assign that for 45 minutes to an hour, whereas subjects that I know a little more, like psych and English, would only get like 30 minutes, and that would still be the green color. So if you're a more organized person, or you really need that visual stimulation and you really need to block out your schedule in that kind of color-coded sense, definitely take the time to make the colors match the amount of time you want to spend on each subject, because you know how much time you need to spend reviewing on a subject and which subjects are your weaker side and which subjects are your stronger side. So once you have that all planned out, you're going to make out a more additional study plan. So you see how you have the subjects. Then next to each subject you have what you need to do. So for HOA, the Oxford Study Guide, which is just something our teacher put in our Dropbox, that's just pretty much an online scan of a study guide, and then answering, like outlining answers for what I would do for papers 1, 2, and 3. That way, not only are you actually studying the material, you're applying it in the format that you're going to be taking it. For the subjects I need to review the most, excluding SAT math, this is just straight AP IB, is chem and psych, and that's because I'm awful at chemistry and at independent study psych, so I haven't been in the class all year to learn the HL stuff. So I went through and took a chem AP test, a practice one, and it was a Barron's one, and they had like fill in the subject, like how many you got wrong, so you can see what order you need to review stuff. So this is what I came up with. And the same thing with psych, I just went in order of what I need to read. So that is how I came up with that. And then whenever I study, I cross something off as soon as I've done it. Obviously, I haven't crossed anything off. Actually, no, I can. I can cross cognitive off. I finished the cognitive section in my notes. So that is what I do. This just gives me a basic overview of everything I need to do, and that way I know exactly what I need to do. But now we need to talk about how to get it done. So the first thing I recommend when studying are review books, and there's a couple you can do. Now, if you are a German student like me, you know good and well that there are no AP or IB review books that are worthwhile for German students. So I have the Intermediate German for Dummies, but and I mainly use this to review kind of more fundamental stuff, like comparing adjectives and adjective endings and things like that. But there's also a website I'll link in the down bar, and it's a native German speaker who explains common mistakes. For my favorite webpage is like the difference in knock and zoo and 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 those kind of things, like am I on the bus or am I actually on top of the bus? And he explains why it is in German and how it sounds to regular German speaker or native German speakers when you say that. So if you are a German person that's trying to review for an AP/IB exam, I'll link that in the down bar because that has literally been the most helpful thing in reviewing for my AP and IB exam. Now for AP testing, there's a lot of different carriers. The two I have, wow, both of these are SAT. This is actually about AP/IB. These are just the first two I grabbed. This is the Princeton Review, and I used this for AP World History. And I didn't finish the AP World History book, but I read most of the Princeton Review, and I got a 3 on that exam, and that was freshman year, my first AP class. So I definitely feel like that helped. The SAT literature one helped a bit too. That was basically learning how to take the exam. But then the most popular one by far is Barron's, and I would show you an actual AP one, but they're all under my desk or under my book bag. And definitely use your books. I just flipped open to a page, but you can see that I highlighted it and I wrote on it and stuff. Definitely actually use your study guides. My brother is mad at me because he wanted to use this after me and I wrote all in it, but it's more helpful if you write in it. And if you look through it, I have tons of papers marked and everything is written on, and that's helpful because I just like to write on it. But also reviewing for IB, they do have IB study guides. This one is personally my school's, and by far this is one of the best books I've had for psychology. This is Pearson Baccalaureate, and they're the #1, I think, supplier for IB exams. I have another one for chemistry, but I left it in my locker, and these are really helpful because they have the basic stuff and then they have the additional subject areas for HL testing. And that is really great. So the second thing, once you have your review books and once you've learned the material, is actually like rewording the material in your own words to remember it. And there's 2 ways to do this. The first is flashcards and the second is like actually writing papers, and I'm gonna go over the second one first. So I don't have any examples right now to show you, but I've done this for 2 subjects. For psychology, we wrote papers on each of our additional subject areas. So I wrote on human relations and abnormal psychology, and that's great because you learn it yourself when you're writing it up, and it's also more condensed than the book is, so then you can go back and read it and study and highlight from that, and that helps you review it more because it's in your own words, so you kind of understand it better. But back to the first way of how you can review is note cards, and there's a couple different ways you can, there's really 2 different ways you can do note cards. So the first way you can do this is with actual pre-bought, pre-made note cards. These are the AP Chemistry Barron's flashcards. They come with a ring, and they have a bunch of different types, but then you can also make your own. And I have 2 examples for making your own. Both are from psychology just because they were in my book. The first one is more for IB. You have to memorize studies, so what I did is I took what the topic that I was learning about was, so this was neuropsychological techniques. I took the name of the person doing the study and the year they did it, and then on the flip side I have the first few letters and then what the study was about and basically what it found. And if I need it, I'll put some of the mythology in there, or methodology, just so I understand when I'm going back and studying. But most of the time, I just want the results to prove something. Then this is more for AP, but they're going to be useful for IB as well. I went through and wrote down hormones and the ones that aren't hormones. The ones that aren't hormones. Like, they're not neurons, but they stimulate neuron receptors. Whatever. The word will come to me later. So I just have like glutamate and all of these, and then I have what they did on the back. Like glutamate is a major excitatory. I've kind of stressed this throughout, but by far the most important thing to do when reviewing exams is to actually practice. And for example, I have my AP Chemistry packet review. My teacher made a 62-page packet for us to review problems with. This is only the first 10 pages, but it has the table of contents, and then for instance, this is equilibrium. It has the equilibrium concept charts, and then just tons of free response practice questions, which is really helpful because the best way to prepare for an exam once you've kind of learned the material is to actually take practice exams and to work the material so that you understand really how it's applied. I really can't guarantee you guys a 5, and I wish I could, or a 7 in an IB case, but if you follow these study tips, you're definitely going to be more prepared and better able to make a higher grade that'll get you that college credit and save you some time and money. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.